Are you building a Next.js application and need secure authentication JWT? Well, you are in the right place. In this tutorial, we will walk through everything that you need to set up authentication using JWT. By the end, you will have a fully functional Auth system ready to go. So grab your code editor and let's get started. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's create our application. First, I will open new terminal and here I will create Next.js application inside this folder, which I already opened. So npx create next app at latest dot. That means this application will be inside this folder. It will not create another folder. And we will also use TypeScript. When it's done, we can run npm run dev. And we can see our application at localhost 300. Okay, we have our application. Now let's begin with creating our JWT application. Let's go to editor. Here we can create new folder with name login. And we can create new folder with name home. Inside the login, we can create new file with page.tsx. Now let's ask AI to generate login page for us. Okay, and let's ask it to create Next.js login page with Tailwind. It should be modern looking login form. Let's copy this code and paste it inside our application. Let's save it. Okay, let's go back to our application and let's go to /login. Okay, we have login form. Okay, now what we need to change this home component. So we don't need this folder, we can remove it. Let's also ask AI to create home page for us. Okay, let's create modern looking home page for Next.js with Tailwind for JWT application. Okay, let's copy this code, paste it inside our application, and let's see home in our application. Okay, we can see welcome to JWT Auth application. Okay, if we click to login, it will redirect us to a login page. Okay, and let's also create a register folder. And also create here page.tsx. Okay, this is login. Here, let's copy whole login page and let's ask AI based on login page, create register page to match same style. Okay, we got here register component. Okay, copy this and paste here. Inside login page here we can set this ref to register. Okay, let's go back to our application. Don't have account, sign up. This should redirect us to register page, but we have an error. The problem is that we need keyword default here inside register component. So if we go back, we can see. Now let's start with creating JWT logic to successfully register and log into our application. First, let's go to Atlas Mongo database. I will log in with Google. And here I'll create new project with name Next.js JWT. Okay, next. Create project. Now we need to create cluster. We can use free plan for this. Let's give it the name JWT login. Let's create deployment. Now we need to create a user, and also we need to copy the password, and we need to store it somewhere. Let's create here a new file .tnv. Let's now just add password like this. Choose a connection method. I will use MongoDB for VS Code. Okay, and now you need to wait sometimes to get this URL for login. Now we can copy this link and let's store it in our env file. Mongo URI. Let's go back to our cluster and let's click done. Okay, that's it for MongoDB Atlas. Let's go back to our env and let's here specify the database name which will we use. We can set, for example, JWT app. Now we need to stop our application to install new dependencies. npm install bcrypt.js JSON web token and mongoose for connecting to our database. I have a type here. It is bcrypt.js like this. Okay, when this is done, let's create new folder inside the root. We will call it lib and here we'll create MongoDB.ts. Here we will store connection to our database. Let's start with importing Mongoose from Mongoose. Now let's get our URI from environment variables. So MongoDB URI is equal to process env MongoDB URI, or we will have an empty string, and then let's create if Mongo URI is not true. Okay, here if we don't have specified, if we don't have valid URI, it will throw an error. Please define the MongoDB URI environment variable. We'll remove this since we will have another way of setting environment variables on Vercel. And also I didn't install correctly this package. Let's install it again. npm install mongoose. Okay, this should be fine now. Okay, now let's use a global variable to cache the connection. Let cached is equal to global as any mongoose or connection null and promise null. Now let's create function for connection. Export async function, connect to database, okay, and now if cache connection is true, let's here return cache connection. Okay, so this means if there is already connection, it will not create another one. Okay, let's here define a promise, cached dot promise. So if there is no promise in our cache, let's create connection. So cached dot promise is equal to mongoose dot connect. So here MongoDB URI. Let's open this and let's specify this, and after this we need to have then mongoose. Okay, I found out in newer version of mongoose we don't need to specify this. Use new URL parser and unified topology, and I have one type here. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to cache connect is await cache promise and return cached connection. Okay, and here we need to store connection globally to avoid creating a new connection in each request. So let's do it like this: global as any dot mongoose is equal to cached. Okay. Okay, next thing that we need to do is to create model folder, and here we will create new file user.tsx. Here let's import mongoose from mongoose. Now let's create const user schema is new mongoose schema. Okay, and here what we need for our user. Let's check in register page. So we need full name, we need email and password. Okay, full name, type string, require true. Okay, unique, it can be false. Okay, we need a comma here. After full name we need email, it should be type string, require true, and also it should be unique. And we need password, type string, require true, and it shouldn't be unique. Okay, and let's export now this, export default mongoose model. .models user or mongoose model user schema. Now inside app folder we need to create new folder which is called API. Inside this folder let's create another folder Auth, and here we will have register.ts. Okay, let's start with creating our function handler. So export default async function handler. We need request as next API request, and we need response as next API response. Okay, since this is used for our registration, we need from this method to be post method. So if request dot method is not post, then we can return response status 405. Okay, we can use this, and send message method not allowed. Then we can use email, password, and full name from request body, and we need to check if email or password if they are empty, and also full name. Now we need to await connection to database, which we will include from our lib, and we need to check if this user already exists in database. So const existing user is await user dot find one, and we can find it by email. So since this email value is unique, we can check if already exists user with this email, and if this user is existing, we can return status 400 with message user already exists. Okay, if user don't exist, let's now create hashed password. Password. It is equal to await by crypt dot hash. So we'll hash our password with salt 10. Okay, and also need to include bycrypt.js, and we need to create new user. It is new user. Email, password as hash password and full name, and then we need to save it to database by doing await new user dot save and response status 201 with message user registered, user created successfully. Now we need to create inside this Auth folder new file for login ts. Now we need to create a JWT secret in our environment file. So let's set, for example, JWT secret key 225, for example. Okay, let's go back to login page. Let's get this JWT secret from process env, or no, we will not leave it empty. Okay, now we need to export default async function handler with request as next API request and response as next API response. Okay, we need to import this from Next. Now we also need to check if this request method is different than post method, and we will return 405 status with message method not allowed. After that we need email and password from body, and then we need to await connection to database, which we also need to include from lib. Now let's find this user from database is equal to await user.find1 and find it by email. We need also to include user from model. Let's check if this user existing. So if it cannot find user, that means that we entered invalid credentials. Now let's check if password is correct. Is password valid? Is equal to await bycrypt dot compare password from user from database user password. Okay, import this as well. Okay, and if password is not valid, we will return 401 status with message invalid credentials. Okay, and now we need to create our token. Const token is equal to JWT dot sign user ID as user from database dot ID. Okay, JWT secret, and we can set expires in 1 hour. This optional you can set however you want it. So JWT, I have one problem here. I need to import this JWT from JSON web token. JWT, let's import it. Okay, we need to save dev. We need to install again this type for JSON web token. Here also we need email as user.email, and since this JWT secret is from environment variables, it can be the case that variables are not set correctly. So here we can use like something like default secret key. Okay, and now we need to respond status JSON. Now we need to return this token. Okay, we finished with our backend. Now let's go to, for example, to register page, and here we need to add a logic for registration and for login. Okay, since in this component we need to have handling states with useState hook, we will make this component as useClient. Okay, and we need to import useState from React. Okay, now what we need to set, we need to create form data. Let's create const form data and set form data use state, and here we will set full name, email, password. Default is empty string. We can also define const error and set error is it we can set as empty string for now, and const loading to false. Let's create method handle change. Okay, and this event is react.change event HTML input. Okay, set form data. Okay, we will keep previous data from our form and new value will be updated. For example, if we have set it already full name and email, when we are entering a password, previous full name and email are persisted and new value password is set, and password will be set as well with this. And we need to close this method. Let's also create handle submit method, and it should also be async. And here we have event, and this event is react.form form event. Okay, we don't need anything else. Let's create arrow function. And here, first thing that we need to do is event dot prevent default. So this will prevent from spamming. Now we can set error as an empty string. Set loading to true, and let's create now try catch block. First we will create this const response is equal to await fetch slash API slash auth slash register. Okay, and method is post. As a header we need to pass content type application JSON, and as a body we will pass form data. Also here we need const data is equal to await response JSON, and we can now set if response is not okay to throw new error with message, and we can also add alert user created successfully. We can clear this form data, set form data as an empty strings for all fields. think that's it, and we can, after this, try block, create catch for error. We can set it as any, and let's here set error as an error message, and finally we will set loading as false. Now let's update our component. So before our form, we can set this error container where we will show error if there is some. Okay, and our form will have on submit method handle submit. Now what else we need? We need our inputs to have on change handle change methods. Since this is for full name, we will set this as full name, and also we will set it as required. And also we need to set a value form data full name. Sorry, this is on change. We can copy this and paste here. Name change to email and form data to email, and we can do it same for password. Our button is already typed submit, and we can set it to be disabled while we have a loading. And we can also replace this register with this if it is loading. Then we will set this registrating, and when loading is finished, we will return this to register. Now this is looking good. Let's run application and pm run dev. Let's go to our application and let's go to register. Let's see, do we have functional registration? Full name, full stack journey, email address, the full stack journey, and password, secret password. Let's click register. Okay, we have some errors. Okay, I found out what was the problem. Since we are using app router, we cannot use APIs like this. We need to create new folder, register. Let's move this register inside, and let's rename it to route.ts, and we will also do the same thing for login. Okay, let's try to register once more, registering, and we have same error again. Okay, we have a problem with Mongo database connection. Let's check, do we use right key. Okay, yeah, we had this wrong key. So let's try it again. Let's run application again. It's open and let's try to register. Okay, again we have an error. Okay, I found out we have this error since app router requires to specify method name instead of doing like handler and to check here which method we have. So we will remove this, and here we will export. We also don't need default, export async function, and this is post method, and we'll do the same thing for login. Okay, let's save this, and also here we will use only request as request, and here we will request.json, and we need also await this. Okay, and instead of response we will use next response.json, and we need status. Okay, let's do the same thing also for login. Request, and this is await request JSON, and response, next response. Also change this and this as well. And also we need to return this next response, and here we can set status 201. Here we can set status 400. Okay, and side login. Let's here also set status 401, and here 401. Here also return next JSON and status 200. Okay, let's go back to our application and send request. User created successfully. Let's go to database. Let's refresh this. And now let's go to browse collections. And we can see we have JWT app database, and we have users with full name, email, and hashed password. So I entered password, my secret password, and you can see what is how it is saved in database. Now let's go to login. Now let's update our login page for handling a login. So let's use this component as a client since we need use state from React. Okay, and let's specify our form data with email and password. We also need state for error and for loading, and we need the const handle change. It is same as we have for registration. What else we need? We need const handle submit, which is async React form event, and we need prevent default for spamming, set error as an empty string, and set loading to true. And let's implement our try catch block now. Okay, const response is equal to await fetch from API out login. Method is post. Headers is also content type application JSON, and you need to pass body as stringify as JSON our form data. Okay, and also we need to extract our data from response. And if this response is not okay, we need to throw a message that something went wrong. And also we can set this alert. We don't need this alert. We can window dot location dot ref and go back to home page, and if there is some errors, let's add catch block, set errors, and finally to set loading to false, and we need to close this. Okay, now what we need to do, we can use it same error container as we did for registration. Okay, let's set for 4. Inside form we will have on submit method, and for labels we can copy same things as we have in our registration component. So this is for email address, and for password we'll change this to password. So okay, button submit. Here we need to set button disabled while loading, and when it is loading we can set these messages, and when loading is finished let's move back to login. Okay, now we should be able to log into our application successfully. Let's try login. Let's enter the email and password. Okay, it went successfully. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is to set our response inside a login to local storage. So local storage set item token and data token. Okay, now we can go to our home page, to our home component. Here we need to import JWT from JSON Web Token. We can use like this JWT. Okay, here we need a use state, and before creating use state, let's make this. We cannot use this component as use client because this is client component. This is a server-side component because this is inside the root of our application. Instead, what we can do inside the app, we can create new file, and we can create home component .tsx, and here let's create export default function home component. Okay, and let's copy all this code from our server side component and paste here. Return okay, turn this. Okay, here we will return home component. Okay, and also we can move this JWT to home component, import here, and we can use this as use client. Okay, what else we need? We need to import React, and we need to import use effect and use state. Now let's create state variable for our user. It should be type string or null, and default we will leave it as a null. Now we need use effect, and here let's create const token is equal to local storage get item token. Okay, if token exists, let's now decode the token to get user info. Const decode decoded is equal to JWT dot decode token, and this. Now let's check if decoded and decoded dot full name For this we need to set this as any and set user as the code full name. Okay, and also we need to set this inside use effect, and and we can create here a block for our user. So if we have user, then we can create a paragraph. Let's add some styling, for example, class name, margin, bottom 6, text gray 600, and let's write hello user. Okay, save it, go to our application, try to log in, use email and password. Okay, invalid credentials. Okay, I forgot to add in token username, I mean user full name. So here full name okay, let's save this. Let's try to log in again. Password, email, and password is okay. And we have this message, hello full stack journey. Now let's deploy our application to Vercel. Before that, we need to push our application to GitHub. And let's go to GitHub and create new repository. Next.js JWT. Okay, let's leave it public. Okay, and let's create repository. Now we need to link our repository. So let's do git remote add origin, and let's paste this, and let's now git push origin main. Since we are locally on a master branch, we can git push origin master. Okay, sign with a browser. Okay, now I can go back to GitHub repository. Let's refresh, and okay, we have our repository successfully pushed to GitHub. Now what we need to do, let's go to Vercel. Okay, start deploying. Let's continue with GitHub. Authorize Vercel. We need to install GitHub application. and let's import our application Next.js JWT root directory key. Let's deploy it. Okay, our project is deployed to Vercel successfully. Okay, let's continue to dashboard. And let's visit our link. Okay, let's check what's happening. Master. Okay, I forgot to commit our changes, so I pushed only the default application that we get when we create an application. So let's commit, let's write the message. Okay, let's commit and let's do git push. Okay, can go to GitHub, let's refresh. Okay, deployment is running and we can wait. Okay, I got an error, and this is because of AceLint rules. We can remove those AceLint rules. Let's delete this file AceLint config. Okay, and now we can commit our last change. Let's give the name remove AceLint commit and git push. Let's go to deployments. Let's go like this, and we can now check our building. As you can see, we didn't set our environment variables inside Vercel, so it cannot be deployed. Let's cancel this deployment. Okay, let's go back to dashboard, settings, environment variables. Okay, and let's set our variables like we set in env file. Okay, Mongo URI. Okay, save. Let's add another JWT secret. Okay, save this, and we can redeploy. Okay, let's view deployment. Let's check logs. And now we have successful build. And you can see here also the preview of our application, and you have also this visit, and we have our URL, and we can register, for example, full name, test user, email, test.user@gmail.com, password. Let's register. Okay, I think I found what was the problem on Vercel. Let's go to database, and inside network access, let's let's allow access from anywhere. So let's try it again. Let's go to our Vercel. Let's try to log in. And we successfully logged into our application. If you like this video, leave a like and comments down below. Thank you for watching.